What's up, everybody? Beast and Bro here. I'm Beastman,
I'm Zeus.
and today, sorry for the we didn't start last week. It's because our power went out, and with the power going out, that means no internet for that time being. So decided to delay it till this week instead. And today we're gonna go off a little bit of previous episode of episode 4 with the bad adaptations or worse adaptations and some character changes. But our main topic is going to be bad tropes that keeps on happening, and that's been overused and overdone. It just gets to a ridiculous point. But right now, we're going to talk about some bad adaptations real quick. And for me, and what Zeus has been watching, which I watched a little bit of, but not fully, was the TMNT animated series, the 1987 version. Oh, whoops, hold on. There we go. The 1987 version, and we've been watching that. I read the comics first, so I know it's more of a dark, grounded tone, and then later on to I think uh, ish, issues 5 through 7, it goes to like a whole cosmic space where they go inside like Dimension X into a whole other dimension and start fighting rhinoceros, wait no, Triceratops monsters and have a whole battle and then get back to New York City. But back then, Peter and Laird, the creators, they started like coming up with a whole bunch of ideas, and so they just started coming up with a lot of stuff that just came out of their head. And I think their wife started, well, not their wife, their roommate, one of the I think it was Peter Laird's wife or girlfriend, and she thought it'd be like a good idea to promote it and then get a toy line and make like a show to make it to have a more lighter tone, even though that's not really the whole tone of what the original comics were, even though they were just throwing ideas out there and throwing their own story. But I thought that was kind of a bad adaptation, at least
Yeah,
from the 80s series.
yeah. The little cartoon TV show was very much geared toward children. It
Yeah.
wasn't. I mean, it's cartoon, so I guess you could say that. But back then, not just children watched cartoons. It was actually like people liked the drawing aspect of like the artistry aspect of it and everything. And but I think it was way geared toward little kids. Um, which isn't a big deal, but it did take away from. I skimmed through the TMNT book that Beastman has, just to get a grasp. I didn't read it; he was reading it, so I just kind of skimmed through it. And you could tell it was very different than the show. I put on the show the other night just to watch. I like things from the '80s. I'm like a big '80s nut. And yeah, they changed the story even on some of the background of the
Mm-hmm.
characters. Um, Splinter, uh, Master Splinter, apparently he was the ninja. When he touched the goo, he turned into a rat. It wasn't the rat learned how like kung fu from him and then got
Yeah.
hit by the goo and it turned him uh into like a bigger like talking rat or whatever. He
Yeah.
actually like formed into a rat. So that was kind of weird. Um but yeah, they just kind of took like too many turns in the story that kind of made it kind of a little off putting in some aspects. And I know it's not a big deal for some people, but I really like the voices of like if I watch a good like animated series or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I like the way that they do the voices, and this is not like that. The voices were very corny and like
Yeah.
kiddish,
Yeah.
and like it was just very I don't think it was very well done. But then again, it was the '80s and it was the first time that we got to see them animated, so that was kind of cool. Like to see them move instead of just in the pictures, it's like in a picture book. It was so it was kind of cool that they did that. And then when they did I think they did the movies really well though.
Yeah.
There was a couple of them that they kind of screwed up in the movies, like some of the the characters in the movies, the ones from the 80s and 90s, uh, they did a good job on some of them, and I
Well,
can't.
the first one was mainly in the 90s.
Oh, those were in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I thought that was in Oh no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I thought it was in like 89, like 80, 88 or 89 when they made that first one. But um, yeah, but then they progressed into the ones from the newer ones that just came out not too long ago, and I don't want to say they butchered it, but it
Well, the Mutant Mayhem one, like that's the most recent one, the animated one.
no, not the
Um,
animated. The I'm talking about the live action one, the newer live action ones. They're not new, but they're newer, like the ones from these days.
well, that was before the animated one. That was before the new. That was before Mutant Mayhem. Those were the ones. You talking about the one with the Megan Fox in it, where they were all big and muscular.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it made a big jump from the ones from the 90s. Like that's what I'm saying. It started out with like the corny little kids one, and then that which wasn't very well received. I wouldn't think to myself anyway. And then they jumped into the ones that they started making in the 90s, which I really liked, and then it all fell back off when they started making the ones in the 2010s or like 15s or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, they completely destroyed the whole thing. I didn't like the way that they did the ninjas looked freaking stupid.
yeah.
Like they looked it wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like the way that they did it. They overdid it. Like I think he overshot it trying to make it something that it's not.
Do you want to talk about the He-Man one?
Oh yeah, so the He-Man
I mean, it hasn't come out yet.
yeah, but I've watched He-Man uh the
Animated.
animated series
Yeah.
from the 80s. If I'm not mistaken, they came out with a quick couple in 82. I think it was 1982 or 83. I think it was 1982. They came out with like a quick little like couple comics. It wasn't nothing. I don't think that was very big. And
Well,
then
it's
they
paired with the toys.
yeah to pair it with the toys. And then they came out with the actual animated series, the cartoon series, which I actually really like. They did really good on it. I mean, it has that good 80s feel to it. It's not corny. I mean, there's some corny aspects to it, but it's
Skeletor.
yeah, no, but I like Skeletor. Like I like his voice. It's kind of cool. I don't know, but I just saw the was it the
The new live action
yeah,
movie.
the live action trailer, and dude, they skimped bad. They made it like early 2000s graphic. Early 2000s had good graphics compared to the bullshit that they're putting into this. And like it looked like they just ran their whole movie through an AI generator. You know, it's not great. Like just from what I'm gonna see it regardless, even though it looks like a piece of shit. I still want to see it just for nostalgic reasons and things like that, and just to see if if the movie does it justice and the trailer just completely fucked it off and they just didn't do great. But it looks corny. Like it's just one thing I can't get with this when people make things corny. Like the actors don't look like they're great actors, and not a lot of them are even known actors. It looks like they just kind of like did a wide screening for actors and just pulled in who they think would look like this person. It didn't look like they were using like I mean, I don't care about well known, but well acted. You know,
Yeah.
there's like, you know, you can use new actors that nobody's ever seen before if they're a good actor. You know, but if you just throw in some random guy, and they can't act for shit just because you want to, it kind of destroys the whole the movie in the whole. And I think that's what they did. Now I can't speak on it because I haven't really watched it yet. I've only watched the trailer, so the trailer could just be dog shit and they'll come out with something better. Like the movie will actually like, you know, prove itself. But until then, I'm against it.
Well, I did some a bit more research on the He-Man comics, and I saw that it was kind of leaning towards like a little bit of a softer tone of Conan the Barbarian,
Yeah, I got that feeling too. It's like a bit more magic. Now magic seems like a funny word, but when you watch it,
more fantasy.
no, fancy, I guess,
No,
but
I meant
fantasy. Oh, fantasy.
fantasy. Yeah,
Yeah, I was about to say fancy, not so
no,
much, but yeah, no, fantasy. It
fantasy.
did it did lean more into the fantasy realm, um, like their little magic bot guy. He's not a bot, but he's kind of like a little like thing that flies around. I can't remember his name. I'm suck at names. Even no matter what, I'm always bad with names. But um, yeah, the so it does have more of a fantasy aspect to it. It's like if you mixed uh um Dark Crystal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that yeah, it's like if you mix Dark Crystal and Conan and put those two together, that's fucking He-Man. Literally, that's it's that's what it is. It's Dark Crystal and He-Man, or Dark Crystal and Conan. Um, and with a little bit of the labyrinth like
Yeah,
sprinkled in there just for good measure. But that's honestly
and
what
probably never ending story too.
yeah, like all those little like old like those old 80s fantasies that everybody loved and everybody hated at the same time
Yeah,
because they were goofy.
they those were more like they had like a mix of dark and light at the same time. Dark,
Which
huh?
I was about to say, which makes sense for
Yeah,
He-Man because it does have like it does have the darker aspects with with the like the camaraderie between um what's his
He-Man and
face?
Skeletor.
Yeah, Skeletor and his little minions.
Yeah,
Like his minions are kind of stupid, and
mm-hmm.
that's one thing that we can talk about that we'll talk about later. With the things that have been overdone, but we'll get to that later. That's one thing that I can say. But um, yeah, so I don't know. I like the way that they did He-Man, the first adaptation of it, and but it is like a mix of like all those like old school fantasies, like the Labyrinth and Dark Crystal, and Neverending Story, those kind of things, and mixed it with like the hero like Conan would be, like a hero type Conan or
Yeah.
a Conan type hero. Sorry. But I like the way they did it. I do like He-Man, and if they really fuck this new one, I'm gonna be pissed. I really don't. Excuse my language. I really like them. I had the toys when I was a little kid. I had um Skull. I had the Skull Rock uh and or Castle Grayskull. Sorry, I had Castle Grayskull. I had Battle Cat. I had He Man and I had Skeletor, and all like so seeing those characters come to life now would be cool if they do it right. And from the trailer, don't. But
I was gonna say that in the comics there wasn't a prince. Like he was always He-Man. There wasn't no prince aspect.
oh, where he was like the human prince that would turn into He Man.
Uh huh.
Oh, okay, I didn't
So
know that.
he was always he
He
was
just stayed He
always
Man.
yeah,
Yeah, he's
basically.
just He Man. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of that was one corny aspect of it that they kind of I don't want to say they overdid it because it was one of the first times that you'd seen something like that. I guess. Well, I don't know. There's thousands of millions of comics, and they came out like the '60s and shit. So I don't know exactly what they would have and not have done. I guess you could say. But the whole like, it's kind of like the whole Batman and Superman thing where they have like their own little persona, like their human persona, and then
Hmm.
they have their superhero persona. I think that He-Man did a good job of doing excuse me, the in the that first adaptation, the animated series. I do think they did a good job of utilizing him as the prince, just give it like a deeper like a deeper connection to him. Like, hey, anybody can be your hero. Like anybody can be a hero, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Now that trope is kind of done, but we'll get into that later on. But yeah, I do kind of actually like that a little bit.
Yeah. Uh. Forgot to say what we've been reading. So I'll just go over that real quick. Have you been reading anything lately?
Yeah, I was finishing up the Planet of the Apes, uh, Green Lantern
Hmm.
crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just read the the Midnight Mission first edition or first issue um where Moon Knight takes out a cult of vampires that's been gathering like innocent people and turning them into vampires. And Moon Knight was about to kill them until he saw that they were innocent. And I really enjoyed the first issue. Yeah, like he just goes in and dives straight towards the windshield and takes down the vampires.
It's badass. Oh, dude, that's sick.
Yeah,
That's a hell of an opening scene in the
yeah.
comic.
Well, a little bit of opening. Yeah. And I see like vampires are here, just taking in a van, taking some hostages, turning them into vampires. And then Moon Knight comes in and fucking flips the van over and all that. There we go. And I thought it was a really good issue. Oh yeah. Yeah, I am the Moon Knight. I thought it was really good for its first issue. I just know that I saw reviews of the end of it, and it wasn't really satisfying because Reese, that's one of the vampire characters that like the innocent ones. She ends up working with Moon Knight in his detective agency stuff because he's still a detective in this issue in this run, which is why it's called the Midnight Mission. He mainly stays as Mr. Knight, which is his alternative suit, which he's Mr. He's a Steven Merchant. That's more of his Bruce Wayne type of style persona, which I think is pretty cool. And then he goes full Moon Knight when he's his original self, which is Mark Spector, and his aggressive self is Jake Lockley. And I also read uh, Avengers, X Men, Axis, which I uh, which I got a year ago. It's a crossover event, which where the heroes and villains fight each other, except it's actually switched around because there's this island. It's called like some type of inversion, where the heroes are acting like villains and the villains are acting like heroes, which I thought was pretty weird. Like at first it seemed kind of normal, and then there's this one shot I saw Carnage actually saving people, and then he leaves a note. He said, "From your friendly neighborhood, Carnage." And Spider-Man Spider-Man took that note. He's like, "Shouldn't these shouldn't this be shouldn't this be considered copyright?" I thought that was pretty funny because that's his whole thing, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and it's Carnage saying it, which is pretty weird because that's a whole different shift from what Carnage usually is. He's a
He's literally the worst of the worst.
yeah, pretty high stakes murder machine, and I just thought it was pretty weird. And they have the whole Captain America, but Sam Wilson and Falcon is Captain America, which in this series, it's Steve Rogers is actually old man this time from the movies, which I thought is pretty stupid how they handled that. And you got Nick Fury from the movie version, which is I don't know why they keep doing that. And then yeah, that's about it. And also they have a kid version of Nova, which the original Nova from the Nova Corps from Guardians of the Galaxy. His name was Richard Rider, but in this one they have a kid version of him, or of, of Nova, which I don't understand again. Trying to appeal to a younger generation, which you can still do, but you can do with the just make original characters. Don't just like make a copy of them. And yeah, I just thought it was pretty weird having good guys be like the villains and villains be like the heroic type. And I got my first Superman book, which was alright. It's pretty cool. I don't like the art by Nick Dragotta on there though.
No, he looks Asian.
Well, at first I thought he had no eyebrows.
He looks Japanese.
yeah, it's not really the best art of Nitrogota, because he's usually well known for the Absolute Batman comics, which those I think look pretty much better, except for like Bane having like a tiny head and huge muscles. But yeah, the actual art is by
Look like one of those little guys from
Jamal
Beetlejuice.
Campbell. Yeah.
Shrunken heads from Beetlejuice.
Oh, this was also on Superman Day, and then they started promote Supergirl instead, which I know the movie is coming out, but on Superman Day you would expect it to be all about Superman, but instead they used it to promote the movie of Supergirl, which I'm really not a fan of. I never really got into Supergirl, but the actual art is by Jamal Campbell, which I think he did a pretty good job in some moments, like the whole like wide two-panel shot of him saving people. That looks pretty good. I don't know, it's just something about it that he kind of mixes like a sort of like a too much detail tone while having keep it simple, but I think it falls off a bit. It's like he's trying to be too detailed while in a simplistic type of art style. And then he's fighting one of Superman's first villains is a Livewire, at least like in the animated series. Uh, she was a podcaster, like radio talk show host, and then got into some type of electricity and got powers. Well, the whole story is basically how he's fighting all these villains that he first met, and uh, someone is talking to him. At least that's what it seems like. At first, I thought it was a monologue because it shows like another bubble, but it's highlighted in green, which I thought it was from Lex Luthor. But he's saying like it's like he's talking to himself. He's like, I know I'm supposed to not use my full strength against these villains, and then it goes off into saying like how at the end like how Superman is not really fighting his villains, he's fighting my villains instead, and then it shows off like the next villain is gonna be like similar to Brainiac, and the whole basic story is that Lex Luthor he actually created uh, like when he went to jail he created uh like instead of LexCorp, it's actually SuperCorp now. So basically, uh, he wanted to help Superman by having like other people work for him to save the city. And then what really drove Clark or Superman off, like what really pissed him off and made him go to Lex, is that uh, Lex Luthor he actually made a hologram of his father, uh, but instead it was an image of Lex Luthor instead
Oh,
of his father. So that really pissed off Clark, and so he tried to go towards Lex Luthor like in prison, but instead he runs into Parasite, which is like a monster that can absorb like a lot of stuff, a lot of powers and stuff, and he can get really strong. But in this version, it's like somebody that's been experimented on, and he's blaming a Superman, and then he go after he fights him. He goes into like the woods. He gets crashed into the woods, and there's like a whole bunch of little tiny parasite enemies. So there's been like more than that going on, and I think it's cool that it leads to Brainiac, but I don't think I'm gonna continue on with it because I just don't dig the art style. And then I started picking up the recent issue of the Darkness series. It's by Mark Silvestri, who was the original artist of the 1996 version of The Darkness. He's not the artist in this one. It's by someone named Ben something. Oh, Ben's. It's down. There you go. Oh, Ed Benz or Ed Bennis and Sal Regla and John Livesay and Matt Banning and then Arif Prianto. So there's a lot of people that does this art, but it basically sticks to like the original tone of the '90s comics, except it gives a more exposition on what happens in Jackie's childhood, at least like in the first part, like of how he became all deranged and stuff.
I do like that dark style of writing,
Yeah,
and the art
yeah.
is pretty badass.
Like he's originally an orphan in this version, and he gets adopted by the Freschetti mob family. I think it's Freschetti. Yeah. Oh, Franchetti. There we go. And for some reason, Franchetti he doesn't like being called father, and instead it's just Uncle Franchetti for some reason, which I think it has something to do with Franchetti's actual son. So that could be a reason why, even though it's not mentioned. That's just the vibe I'm getting from that. But yeah, the whole thing about Darkness is that it's a guy that's always like down on his luck, and he's always getting into trouble. He is a hitman for the mob family of the Franchetti, and on his 21st birthday, everything goes wrong when a Russian mob family tries to take out the Franchetti family, and one of the members dies of the mob family, and Jackie tries to get revenge, and there's this guy. His name is Sonatine, and he has darkness powers, but he wants to give to someone else, which is named Jackie, and there's like an angel figure, which is her right there, Angelius, right there, Angelus, and she's after Jackie to try and take down the darkness. So it's this whole angel versus demons kind of dynamic, and I've read all three issues, and I think there's gonna be like 6 total issues, and then a whole total volume which comes out in August. So yeah, it's really dark and has some gruesome moments, and it sticks to that '90s type of edge and gritty type of writing with like some dark humor and stuff like that. Which of course,
Is the story arc good?
yeah, it of course get that little gremlin right there.
Dude, I haven't read it yet,
Yeah,
but that's my favorite character.
yeah,
I haven't even read it. I like the little dude.
yeah, yeah. It's a really fun series to check out. The fourth, not the fourth, the fifth issue comes out May 20th in stores at least.
Oh, dude, that's less than a month.
Yeah, and then I also read the original V for Vendetta, which I thought it was kind of. I think it drags on a bit in the second portion of it because it adds multiple characters that you're supposed to follow in, and then in the second part, the later second part of the story, I think it really picks up, and then I think it drags on a bit after that, even though Evie makes her like revelation of what she's going through her torture. Basically, the whole thing for V for Vendetta is that there's a whole corrupt government system, and V right there, the main character or protagonist, tries to stop the government in his own way, and he's actually taking revenge for the people that wronged him because he was a lab experiment from the government, and this experiment of what made him the way that he is that he there was a medicine type of drug called batch number 5, and it gave him like crazy schizophrenia, and so he talks to himself a lot, and he also in the book he talks to like the statue of their version of what justice looks like in the Old Bailey. If I could find it. Yeah, basically he's just trying to take down the whole corrupted government, and takes revenge for the Lark Hill resettlement camp. There we go. Yeah, he talks to a statue of what he means justice it means, and he's saying like how anarchy is the true mistress, and how justice wronged him, how justice isn't really what justice is anymore. And so, which that part was cut in the movie, which I thought it was kind of important because it goes through his own personal belief of what he thinks justice should be stood for, and I think I like the movie more, even though that can have slow moments, but the movie right there, uh, it focuses more on the action moments and the more pivotal moments from the book, whereas in the book it's more slower and there's not much action in it, and there's a whole bunch of side characters and characters that don't actually behave the same as they do in the movie. There's also name changes, behavior changes, and stuff like that, which I think some of the characters should have stuck with how they acted in the book from the movie. Just have it more focused on like Evie, V, uh, Mr. Finch, which was actually one of the detectives, and then his partner, and then of course you have uh, Mr. Susan, which was in the name. His last name was changed to Sutler, and just have it more focused around that instead of adding a whole bunch of side characters. But I understand why they have multiple side characters. Is to show you how corrupt the government is and how it affects everybody that's in that type of situation. It just for me just dragged on a bit, which is why I like the movie a bit better. And also in the book, like how in the book, V dies and blows up the whole uh building of, I think, all of Parliament or something. Except in the movie, it's trying to say that um everybody should be a rebel. There should be a resistance. That the justice is for everybody, even though in the book, Evie actually becomes V, and so she's the one that's trying to change everything and be the new uh, be the new hero for justice instead of having it passed down to all the citizens. Uh, and yeah, that's like the only changes that I liked and disliked about the movie and the book. I just like the movie a bit better, but yeah, that's all I read. What about you? You said you read the Green Lantern stuff.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I was um jumping back into reading. I think I'm on the fourth one now, and yeah, the I do really like it. Honestly, it's only 6 issues, and I wish it was longer. um, but I still haven't seen how it wraps up, so maybe the 6 issues will be enough. But uh, I I don't know how I feel about. uh Sinistro, he just seems kind of generic. Um, like there's a generic feeling to the way that he does things. It just seems kind of played out in a way. I know they're trying to take it from the movies, so
Mm-hmm.
obviously, and they didn't. I mean, they didn't change him though, which is good. They didn't make him whole some other, like crazy thing, and he does actually look just like the movies. Like the actor that they use in the
Oh
movies,
yeah, Mark Strong.
yeah, they. I'm
He's
pretty
gonna
sure
kick ass.
when they created this comic, they took from that movie or vice versa because they look exactly the same, like facial structure, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's cool that they didn't go off and like completely change it, and like they kept things, uh, pretty similar. But I don't know. There's just something about him as a villain that I'm not a big fan of. I mean, he's cool, but he just, I mean, he's kind of a badass, but there's just something about him that I don't really like. I don't know if it's like I so when I was reading Team Titans, in Team Titans, in one of the issues that I was reading it, now don't quote me, I can't remember which one it is. I have to go grab it, but uh, there was this one guy who was a planet. Like there was a planet that was his face, and he was kind of like a god, kind of like
You're
a
mixing things up.
what?
You're mixing things up.
No, 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 I have it. I can go grab it.
Oh, team. Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah,
of
and
something else.
no, in Team Titans, I can't remember his name, but he's got like these big gold ears,
Huh.
and or like his hat or whatever has like these big like gold wings on it and shit. And he's called Planet something. Like that's his name is like Planet something or
Yeah.
whatever. But he kind of reminds me of um like all those characters like the Sinistros and the like with the really big high ego uh characters that just are like the villains, just like with these big high egos that think that their shit don't stink and then nothing's gonna happen to them, and then at the end they end up getting wrecked.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like the same thing over and over and over again, which kind of annoys me. But I mean, aside from that, the I really like it. I mean, aside from that part of it, that's not just has anything. That's not any knock to uh Green Lantern itself. That's more so just how villain like the whole villain versus hero kind of thing usually happens. You got like the humble, like sometimes it'd be like the humble funny guy that's the hero, and the cocky asshole that's the villain or whatever. I wish they would change it up a little bit sometimes, but that's really all I got to say about that. I need to read more of those teams because they do get into Nightwing, and I really like Nightwing, which I just realized was Robin.
Yeah.
I didn't know Nightwing was Robin.
Yeah, it's Dick Grayson.
Yeah. So he's in Teen Titans, and there's a couple. I have a couple of his issues, like one or two of them, and he's in most of them. And I like his spaceship is a living freaking bat, which is cool. Or like is it a bat or a stingray? I think it's a bat, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a really huge.
Yeah, I know one of them is a bat. It's because like there is a vampire character from Team Titans that his old ship is actually a giant bat.
Yeah, they call
That's
him.
the one that I
Oh, he's
read.
Darkwing.
Yeah.
Is it Darkwing? No, that's Darkwing Duck. It's not Darkwing. I thought. Well, there is Nightwing is in it, but I thought he was Nightwing.
Mm-mm.
In the in Team Titans, I thought his name was Nightwing. But yeah, he's like the vampire character, and he flies around in a bat. Like the bat is the spaceship,
Yeah.
which is I think is freaking awesome. I wish I brought it in here. I didn't know I was going to talk about that comic, so I don't have it with me to show you. But next round, I'll show you next week. But yeah, I really like that. I might actually go read some more of those right now.
All right, we can go to character changes. Like I was gonna say how in the new there's been new stuff going on with a brand new day. How they're trying to make the movie like they're doing some reshoots and adding more comedic moments, which I think is pretty stupid. But gotta try and appeal to the younger audience again. And they also want to add how Peter has a new AI system in his suit that he talks to, which again makes no sense and just makes him more like Iron Man again, or the whole trope of Iron Boy that's been going around like a long time ago. And that's nothing like Peter Parker because he doesn't depend on he doesn't depend on technology. He's not like Iron Man at all. You know, he creates stuff on his own, but he doesn't rely on like technical, like scientific stuff.
Yeah, he made his own suit, like just the fabric of the suit in the first ones. Like that was what he created. You know, he
He
didn't
made
have
his
to
own
make.
suits. He made his like web
Well,
shooters.
in the first in Tobey Maguire's adaptation, he didn't even have to make web shooters
Well,
because it just came out of his hands.
well, yeah, because well,
Uh,
that wasn't really in part of the comics.
oh, so in the comics he makes the web shooters.
Hmm.
Well, at least there's that. But he's not like some over technical, like using Jarvis to build everything kind of
Yeah,
bullshit. It's not. You know, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and the whole Mary Jane situation. You know, her name isn't really Mary Jane in the No Way Home or the Home trilogy, about to be Qualogy or whatever. Um, they said her name is Michelle Jones, and is not Mary Jane, and she doesn't act like Mary Jane at all because
It's just their
she,
own new character.
yeah, she's a completely new character. You know, her initials are still MJ, which is still to confuse people. Um,
I don't think it's to confuse people. I think it's to try to keep something the same so it won't piss everybody off.
well,
But it's still that didn't work very well because it's still
yeah,
pissing people off.
yeah. Zendaya doesn't really portray the Mary Jane very well. You know, it's Michelle Jones, so it's not really Mary Jane.
I mean, I
And
did like her in the movie. She does play a good part. It's just not Mary Jane. You didn't like her in the movie.
no, she's all she, like dresses down. She's all frumpy. She always has like a cocky and negative attitude.
It's kind of what I liked about
Yeah,
her.
that's not what like Peter wasn't interested in
Yeah, I know, but I
because
mean, but
Peter
Peter's
was
also Iron Boy in this one too. So it's not like they're keeping him. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So if they're gonna change it up, I did actually kind of like her character a little bit. Like she was kind of like a cynic. She was
Yeah.
kind of cynical. She was kind of like kind of like for lack of a better term, bitchy.
Mhm.
you know, and but she kind of like keeps him together. You know what I'm saying? Like keeps him on his toes a little bit. I actually kind of liked her character in the movie. I mean, now that's not my favorite adaptation of Spider-Man, but the characters I like the little fat kid,
Yeah,
the
Ned.
the fat bald kid. Yeah, Ned.
Even
Uh,
though it's not really.
he has nothing to do with the universe and any of the other
Mm-mm.
movies. He's just a new fucking character. But I mean, if you take it for the what the movie is,
Well,
it's
his
just a
look is actually from a character named Genki from Miles Morales.
oh fuck off.
Yeah, and like the original Ned Leeds is from the original comics, who dated Betty Brant, and was actually a fall guy for the Hobgoblin.
He looks like a hobgoblin. Uh, um, but yeah, no, it's just uh, if you take the movie at face value, I do like the characters and shit like that. But if you try to relate it into like the world of Spider-Man, like his whole thing, it doesn't work. It just doesn't come across correctly, if you will. Um, and so I don't know. That's why somebody like me who's like hasn't read the comics I can enjoy the movies,
Yeah.
but for somebody who really loves the comics and loves like the originals and shit like that. Now my favorite's still always gonna be Jerry Maguire. Jerry Maguire? Toby Maguire. It's always gonna be his version, not no damn Jerry Maguire. But it's always gonna
Tom
be
Cruise. Show me the money.
yeah, no. My favorite's always gonna be that first one, but um I mean, when you take it for face value, what it is, just for the movie's sake of it, not the like the uh nostalgic, like the nostalgia of it all.
Hmm.
When you take all that out, it's a decent, but they had some decent characters.
Yeah, and I just didn't like how they made like Tom Holland like too much like a fanboy.
Yeah, that was fucking stupid.
Like, oh, hey, it's Iron Man. Oh shit, hey, it's Captain America.
Yeah, and then he ends up fighting them too
Yeah.
in the Avengers,
That was
and
a Civil War.
yeah, so it kind of like bit its own. Like
Which
he's
has happened in the comics, the whole Civil War thing,
oh yeah,
and in like in the comics, it's the movie and the comics are like very similar with the whole main point of having the superhero act registration, which in the movie it's called the Sylvia Accords, which is basically just handing over your rights of a superhero and registering it for the government usage. And so you're supposed to like reveal your identity to make it public for everybody, which is really a safety issue because when everybody knows your secret identity, they're gonna come. The villains are gonna come for your personal life and your family. So, which really makes like no sense. And Tony Stark like agreed to that for some reason. And Spider Man, like Peter Parker, he really like dislikes Iron Man in the comics because he doesn't like how he does things. And in the comics, when Iron Man actually made a suit for Spider Man, there's he actually tampered with it and messed up Spider Man with his suit and tried to take control of it or something like that.
technically he did try to do that in the Tom Holland movies though.
What?
Not to that extent, but he put a bunch of limitations on Tom Holland's suit so that he could know. First of all, it was a tracker. Second of all, he put limitations to where he couldn't use certain functions of the suit
Yeah,
that Tony Hawk that Tony
Stark.
yeah that Tony Stark didn't approve of. So there was kind of that, where he tried to put the limitations, but it actually did create a good scene though when he got trapped in that freaking thing and he had to like figure out all the different uses of the suit through the female Jarvis. What
Oh
was
yeah,
yeah. Um, so that actually did create a decent scene for that. But yeah, no, I think that's the one where he was fighting um,
Vulture.
yeah, Vulture. Which
That was Homecoming.
yeah, I didn't like Vulture's character very much. I mean, he was cool, um, but I liked him in the games better. Like oh, not him personally, but like his suit and his voice and stuff like that in the Spider-Man games, or in the game that I played. I only played the first one. Was the first one to say? I think it was the first one,
Yeah,
right?
that's the first one.
Yeah, yeah. I played the first one, and I liked Vulture. How it wasn't like a green suit or something like that.
Yeah, it's
In
still
the
green.
I don't remember being green in the movie.
Yeah, it's green. It's just more mechanical.
And he had more of in the game. He had more of like a look like his like he looked more birdy like the the guy that played it.
More birdie.
Yeah, he looked more like like a Volt, like with the beaky face and shit, you know what I'm
The
saying? Like
crooked
he had this.
nose.
Yeah, he had the that voice, like that kind of like that goofy kind of voice, like it. I don't know it. That's what I like about comics and movies is like the funny voices. Taylor, man, Beastman was just getting he was saying he was laughing at how they made Skeletor's voice in He-Man in the
Animated series.
yeah, in the animated series. And I'm like, bro, I liked his voice in it. It was goofy, you know? And then they completely changed it in the
In the
trailer.
movie,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, in the trailer on the
Yeah,
movie,
they
it's like
replaced
a
it with
it's like
Jared Leto's voice.
yeah, it's like a darker, like a deeper voice, which it is a good thing that they did that, I guess, because they kind of changed his character also. Like he's not in the animated series, he was more kind of like a he wasn't comedy by any means, but it was more comedic, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. And he was a dick, but no, and he had like the little bumbling idiot
Minions.
henchman
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I don't think they used that character development, like that little trope. I don't think they used that in the movies. Now I don't know. I have to go. Maybe they have a new trailer out
Well,
that I can
maybe in
watch.
the Dolph Lundgren one, because Dolph Lundgren was in a He-Man movie as
Yeah, he
He-Man.
was He Man,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
Mhm.
Yeah, that was like from the '80s too, wasn't it? Or like the
Yeah.
'90s, like the
It was the
late '80s,
'80s.
early
Yeah.
'90s. I didn't see that one. I might have to go check that one out.
I think that was on TV also.
Oh, dude, if it's on Tubi, I'm gonna go check that
Mhm.
shit out today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got stuck in freaking Vice, Miami
Miami
Vice,
Vice. Yeah.
but that's neither here nor there. Um, but yeah, Tubi's the shit. If you don't have it, go check it out. But we're not sponsored by them. Tubi, if you want to sponsor, no. But yeah, so
All right. Now that we got that one, we can go ahead and do bad tropes, our main basic topic for today. And I like to say how like the whole like appealing to younger generation, which they have done in a comic series called All New, All Different, which they have made a younger version of Iron Man, but it's basically when like Iron Man, like Tony Stark has died, and instead it goes off to a young girl named Riri Williams, created by Brian Michael Bendis, who's basically she's like really self-titled, and she thinks she's a know-it-all, and she always wants to play the victim every time. I think she even pushed her teacher down a flight of stairs,
oh shit.
and she's like a really bad person, and she's supposed to be like a genius, and even though she's not, and they try to push her to be the next Iron Man's successor, and there was even like a comic introducing her, saying how like her teacher said like what do you want to be when you grow up, and she's like, well, I want to be an astronaut. She's like, oh, well, that's a good idea. And then she Ruby showed her that or the teacher showed her that there's a female astronaut or a woman astronaut that was like that matched her race. She's like, well, go ahead and do that if that's your dream. And then Ruby's like, well, I will, and I'll be better at that than you.
What a little bitch.
Because a race like me can be an astronaut and stuff even better. So they just made her like really bad. But I know, like in some of the other comics, they rewrite her character to be a bit more likable. But in the shows, they made her completely unlikable. They turned her into a criminal because
Cause she's black.
no.
I'm too fucking.
I mean they had that stereotype in the show
Yeah.
to treat her like that. She is an MIT student. Um, she's like building all types of stuff, but she had the school's money and funding for it, and she made a suit, but it was the property of the school, and so she decided to steal it instead. And then she
Pretty
works with
racist.
a gang of criminals to get more money, and they try and make her more relatable and stuff, which makes no sense because she's a criminal. And then at like the end of the show, she makes a deal with the Marvel version of the devil, which is called Mephisto. She makes a deal with him to get her dead friend back to life.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and
Necromancy is never a good idea.
yeah,
Don't try it.
and she also used dark magic to power her suit, which is also not a good thing. And so, yeah,
Damn.
and huh,
So she's just full on evil.
yeah,
Damn.
and uh, all new, all different, younger versions of already established characters. Like there's one for Hulk, named Armadeus Cho. Um, Miss Marvel, which her powers were a lot different than the original Miss Marvel, which was Carol Danvers, which her name was Captain Marvel, which was previously a dude, which was Marvel, and then they just put a female version instead. And then, but Miss Marvel is more like her real name is Kamala Khan, and they took some aspirations from Tom Holland's Spider-Man of him like being a fanboy and stuff, but Kamala Khan is more of like the fangirl type of person, because she's a really big fan of the original Captain of the female version of Captain Marvel, and then in the show, um, they changed her powers because originally her powers were more like were similar to Mr. Fantastic, to where she can stretch out her limbs, make them big or small. And then in the show, they made her more like a Green Lantern. So instead of a ring, she would have like an ancestral bracelet and have her do light constructs instead. And then at the end, they tell her that she is a mutant for some reason, which makes no sense because she wasn't born as a mutant. When you get powers from a certain device, that doesn't make you a mutant. The mutant, what makes a mutant is the X genome, which is like an X chromosome that gives you like special abilities or like a certain mutation. You are born with it. You're not like Spider-Man where you can get like bitten by something and then you get powers, which he's not immune either. But yeah,
Well, technically he is.
no, he's not.
His genes mutated into a spider, didn't they?
Yeah, but he wasn't born. He wasn't born with spider powers.
Oh, so that, okay.
Yeah,
So a mutant is born. Oh yeah, it's a mutation in your genetic. Oh, okay, I got you.
yeah.
I got you. I got
Hmm. And
you. We're all learning here.
yeah, it's like a similar thing with Deadpool. People say he's a mutant when he's not. He's basically a lab experiment. Which
Like Wolverine.
yeah, except Wolverine is a mutant though because of
What?
how like his bone claws.
No, because yeah, that was based on an experiment that was happening. He
No,
wasn't born
that
like
was
that.
adamantium.
No, in the movies, in the well, now I don't know. There's a difference, but in the movies, fucking when he was in the military or whatever, that freaking the one dude they had experimented on him and brought him.
Striker.
Yeah, Stryker. They brought him to that little whatchamacallit, his like little underground bunker thing,
Yeah,
and turned like pretty much like filled him with that shit, and he became Wolverine. He wasn't born like that.
yeah, but in like the X Men Origins, he had like bone claws. That was before the experiments.
He had bone claws before the experiments.
Hmm. Yeah, because he like someone like came up into his house and then as a child he like started like growing bone claws.
Oh shit, I do. I think
Yeah,
remember that. Oh fuck. Okay, never mind.
yeah. So he was actually born a mutant.
Yeah.
Whereas Deadpool, like he got experimented on because of his cancer, and he thought the experiments would cure his cancer, and instead he made him uh like more have like ugly face and stuff, and then made him have like regenerative abilities, like more powerful than Wolverine, and yeah,
Yeah.
but back to the whole all new, all different, like the Amadeus Joe, like another kid version of Hulk, and then you have America Chavez, which I'm not sure what she's based off of, but her whole thing is like creating like different dimensions with just literally just punching reality, just making like a star shape and go to different dimensions. And then Miss Marvel, and then you have Miles Morales, which is just basically a younger version of Spider Man.
And he's black.
Yeah, and like just have like a different race. But yeah, and they tried to the MCU tried to adapt some of those, which didn't turn out very well. Which they changed characters. They tried to, even though those were like the lowest selling comic books, and you try to adapt those instead, which makes no sense. And then you have
They just
Kate,
really wanted to make it work.
yeah, which they couldn't. They just made it worse for them. Then you have
Okay.
Kate Bishop, which which is basically a female version of Hawkeye, which they both have worked together. Even though the comic version failed Kate Bishop, but I heard like they made her a little bit better in the Hawkeye series, which I haven't watched and don't really plan to.
I think I watched like the first couple episodes a
Oh,
long
yeah,
time ago.
in which made Hawkeye go into hiding and have the alias as Ronin, and that was because Black Widow died. She sacrificed herself in an Endgame, in which he went to go into hiding, go off on his own, become his own vigilante.
Okay, was Jerry Renner, right?
Jeremy
Jeremy
Renner,
Renner.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
in the show as well, right?
Hmm?
In the show as well.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I've watched like an episode or two of that, but it's been years. I don't remember it.
yeah. And then you have Echo, which is a she's like a female assassin. She's kind of like, I say she's similar to Taskmaster, because she's really good at like predicting people's moves like before they happen. Um, Except she has like a whole her stuff is like more she has enhanced like perception and stuff like that. But in the show, they made her whole identity, whole having like spirits of being Native American, have like spiritual Native American powers for some reason, and then her being deaf, and then having like one leg missing.
Damn, they really fucked her up.
Yeah. Uh,
Golly.
yeah. And then Daredevil is involved, and then Kingpin is involved.
Damn, you
She's
got a crippled Indian and a blind guy?
she's supposed to be like Kingpin is actually supposed to be training her, and then she gets like betrayed by Kingpin and stuff like that. In the show, there's just a whole bunch of craziness in there. And then uh these is just the trope section, but uh there's another trope that that's been going around and hasn't really stopped, is that trying to bring superheroes, like certain superheroes, into a more grounded and dark realistic take, even though that completely changes the tone. Just like Superman with Zack Snyder, and what's about to come out in August, Natural Days, August 16th, which is the new Lantern show, which makes no sense. It's because it's not supposed to be a true detective style, and the whole Venom. Um, in the comics, stop. In the comics, Venom is supposed to be strictly a villain tied to Superman, not Superman, Spider-Man only. And then in the movies, they completely changed
Just
him to more of a funny character.
yeah, and they can completely cut out every other superhero. Like they're well, not other. He's supposed to be a villain, but they made him like an anti-hero for one,
Yeah,
and then on top of that, they took out his whole origin. Like
yeah,
he was literally connected to Spider-Man. That was his whole reason for being. And now Spider-Man's no part of any of the movies. They just made him a comedic anti-villain or anti-hero.
yeah.
That's pretty much. I mean, now I like the movies. Don't get me wrong, but they don't have any place um in the in that like comic universe.
Which they have made him a an anti-hero in the comics as well. It's called King in Black or King of Black or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
where they go after a cosmic invasion of symbiotes, which the king of symbiotes is named Null, and it's where Eddie actually has a son and a family, and he tries and helps the Avengers to take down Null, which just makes no sense. Like I like the whole symbiote aspect. It's just that when it goes into like an extreme cosmic level is where it completely loses me. Like I would just like it to keep it as a mystery of like not knowing where the symbiote thing came from.
Oh yeah, he's got a. They go into the whole freaking like lineage almost. Like go back to his kind of like what they did with the Transformers. They went back to like showing their planet and how their planet pretty much how they got here and why they came here.
Well,
Well
that's part of the show.
no, I know I'm not saying anything uh against Transformers, but I'm saying just like the Transformers, they did that with Venom.
Yeah,
They showed it. It was almost like one for one how he explained it just like in the movies. In the Transformers movies, when Optimus Prime was telling Shia LaBeouf, I can't remember his name from the movie, but I'm telling you, I'm horrible with names,
yeah,
but he was telling Shia pretty much like well, we came from here and they blah blah blah. Well, Venom did that exact same scene in the Venom movies. He was like, yeah, our well, not exact same scene, but um pretty much somebody had like taken over and all this bullshit and Then they ended up coming here and blah blah blah. And they're yeah. So um, yeah, there was no mystery to it. It was just kind of laid it out there for you.
Yeah, in the movie they had like Riot, Shriek, and Carnage, which Carnage is in the comics, but um,
He's not the asshole he is in the comics though in the movies.
yeah,
He's still an asshole, but not the same asshole.
which I'm fine with Carnage and Venom like being in there. It's just that when they tie something mysterious and dark, there has to be like a whole background of it, like a whole lore dump of where it actually of where it comes from. Which I just like to keep things like mysterious and not like have a huge backstory from it.
Oh yeah, kind of like the way that um now this is gonna sound kind of far, but I'll bring it to a point. But Quentin Tarantino in his movies, he always creates scenes where the like the watcher, like the viewer like creates their own narrative. So like in Pulp Fiction, he has the scene where John Travolta opens up the suitcase, and he sees, like, you can see him open up the suitcase, like, from, like, in front of him, but and you can see the gold, like a
Mm-hmm.
gold light flash on him, but it never shows you or tells you what the fuck is in the suitcase.
Yeah,
It makes you as the viewer, like, make up your own, like, oh, what's in it. So it should do that with the this lore thing when it comes to, like the Venom movies, and not just that, but as the example, like the Venom movies, it'd be cool to make you think, like, where all this came from, like, you know what I'm saying, like that mystery where you, like, it's not just all there for you to just be like, oh, that's what it is.
yeah. Now, also, I wanted to say, Batman and the Robins type of dynamic, because there has been, I think, at least five different iterations of Robin. Because there's the first one, Dick Grayson, which is the very first Robin that goes into Nightwing, and then you have Jason Todd, which is another Robin, which later forms into the Red Hood, which he goes, which ends up killing the Joker or wants to kill the Joker, and tries to challenge Batman into wanting to um, kill villains, which challenges Batman into his whole morality. And then you have Tim Drake, which is more of like a more of like a intelligent type of strategist type of person. And then you have Stephanie Brown, which is also another Robin, but like a female Robin, which I think she later becomes Batgirl, I think, or at least like another different iteration of Batgirl. And then you have Duke Thomas, which is a newer type of Robin, which he's very obscure, and he actually has like some type of light powers. And then you have from The Dark Knight Returns from Brick Miller. There's I think her name is like Carrie Kelly or something like that. But that one's like only tied to that story in general. But the whole other ones, um, whole other ones are like just mainly from the comics
I
that
would,
that go into everything else. What?
I would like to see them in the future, hopefully soon, make like bring Robin back as Nightwing, not
Mm,
as Nightwing, but like show that formation, like bring him it, like, like have him and Bat, like a movie of him and Batman, and um like just to start it off, so like a movie of Robin and Batman, like, like they're like a like of today, you know what I mean,
mm-hmm.
and then after that go off and use that as a spin-off, or we'll use that as like a jumping point for a spin-off to Robin becoming Nightwing, and then have his own movie,
Mm-hmm.
like that would be a good little setup. And that's like, you could stretch that like 3 or 4 movies,
Yeah.
starting with Batman and Robin to Robin becoming
Nightwing.
Nightwing while still having Batman in it, and then him kind of getting away and then having his own couple movies himself
Yeah, because
of Nightwing.
Nightwing ends up going into another part of Gotham called Bloodhaven,
Mm-hmm.
and he starts to defend that area instead.
See,
instead of Gotham.
so it would be nice to like have that story laid out in front of us, you know, um, but done gracefully and right.
Yeah.
Not the way that these big shitty companies are doing it these days, but kind of like they did with the Dark Knight Rises. Like they did those movies really well. Um,
Well, Dark Knight Rises like theming like a little hint of Nightwing there,
yeah, but if
because the
they,
whole cop, one of the cops was named Dick Grayson.
but I'm saying like as far as uh the story and the cinematography of like Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises and stuff like that. Like they did a really good job with
Hmm.
the story in those movies.
Yeah.
Like there's some things I guess you could pick on, but at the same time they kept it pretty, like to the point and everything. And they did a really good job with the actors and stuff like that. If they could do it as tasteful as that and bring back like a Batman and Robin, not like no fucking goofy '60s version of Batman and Robin,
Yeah.
which I can't stand watching those old '60s like Batman. I know people love them, and that's like some people like are in love with that shit. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
It's too goofy for me. I mean, some of them are. It's fun to watch just for like a funny aspect, but it's just anyway. But if they can bring it with that same tastefulness as like the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rise and stuff like that, and bring it full scale and keep it dark, and still make it like a really good movie, not add a bunch of comedy bullshit to it, not create all your own fucking characters, like keep things pretty similar. Um, Obviously, it's not going to be exactly one for one with Dark Knight Rises and stuff like that because you're going to have to change the story. You can't make
Hmm.
it exactly the same. But I would like to see that and give Nightwing his time in the sun. That I really, I would really like to see Nightwing in a movie. Like in his own movies, but like starting out with like Robin first, and then how he like transitioned into Nightwing, and then we're all about trans people anyway. Why not show his transformation? Fuck, you know.
Yeah. Going back to the whole Robin stuff, I just don't think like the whole point of Robin is that like why Batman recruited like Dick Grayson as a Robin is because he was like a he went through basically the same thing Bruce has went through as a child, like the whole being a kid and losing your parents and stuff like that, or just a like an orphan child that gets into trouble. And Jason Todd, I think with him, he was like a bad kid, but also I think he was also there was one point where he was either no he was trying to take off the Batmobile's tires. He's actually trying to take them out, and Batman caught him, and he saw that he was like the only one there, and he was started like asking about his parents and stuff, and he's like, "How about I help you out and give you like a life you like never had, like but have you like a good place to stay and help you train, and so you don't like become a criminal and stuff like that." So I think that's a good thing, but I just think you shouldn't have to create a psychic each time you run into like a person like that each time because you have like five different versions of the same thing. I
Yeah.
I just think it should be only done for like at least two times at least max. And the same thing with the Batgirl, because Batgirl has been like two different people. There was Barbara Gordon, which was actually there's like two different backgrounds of her. There is one where she's actually a niece to James Gordon, and there is one where she is the daughter of James Gordon. But after the Killing Joke, which is about the Joker shooting Barbara Gordon in the spine and leaving her to become the Oracle, which she basically just like goes into like some type of into the Bat Cave or some type of tower and gives information to all the Bat family members like Batman and Robin, gives them all the intel and info about what crime is going on. And then there's another girl named Cassandra Cain, She's more of a tactical assassin type of fighter, and she becomes a new Batgirl, and just stuff like that. Which I think that makes more sense than the Robins, because you actually have someone that couldn't do the job that they couldn't used to, because they got into a tragic accident, which to Joker isn't really an accident, but and then you have someone, a more capable fighter to take on the mantle of Batgirl, which makes more sense. And they just kept it as those two instead. Instead, the Robins, it's more overused because you're doing the same thing over and over again. And with Venom, more than that, but with the symbiote, they made it to where anybody can be the host than just Eddie Brock, because there was one story where there was an alternate universe version where this symbiote took over Peter Parker's body, and he drained him of his energy and turned Peter into an old man, and he eventually died, and so he went on to the Hulk. So now there's a symbiote type of Hulk now, and then there's one where Flash Thompson got a hold of the symbiote, and he actually became um, a hero, which was named Agent Venom, and stuff like that. And there's also with Carnage, um, Eddie Bro- uh, Eddie Brock was also Carnage was gonna take over Eddie Brock, and then there's another one where I just mentioned to Zeus when he laying down before we started that Carnage, like when he was about to die, he transferred himself into a cockroach to survive, which I thought was pretty silly and ridiculous. But it's from the comics, so Um, so yeah, I just don't like that whole idea between of how they change the symbiotes. I just think it gets too too ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't like in the movies, in the Venom movies, how I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a third one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the third Venom. I didn't really like how, like throughout the movies, there was like the symbiotes would kill all these like different humans or whatever. Like it
Mm-hmm.
would try to attach itself to you, but it would always kill them. They couldn't find the right host for it. In the third one, they just out of when they wanted to have like the biggest fight, whatever the symbiote touched, just automatically this person is just a symbiote now.
Yeah,
Like it took like time for that to get into Eddie, and time for Eddie's like body to adjust to it, and time like pretty much like ate him from the inside out and like started becoming Venom. And then in the third one, they just like willy nilly just throwing that shit into anybody who wanted it. Like it didn't make sense. It just
yeah,
it I think they just did it just to have like a big fight between the symbiotes, like the evil versus the not so evil but still evil. I
yeah,
guess it was just it was goofy as shit how they like throughout all the movies, no like very few people were able to become these like to bind with the symbiotes, and at the end of the third one it was just like, hey, whoever touches that shit just becomes one of them. Like, bro, what? So all of a sudden it just doesn't kill you anymore, and like, and it was like quick. Homegirl got it, and she was already it. Like the purple one. She was a black chick. I can't remember her name. She's pretty hot though. But
yeah. I think that's supposed to be Shriek.
yeah, something I can't remember the
It's like
name.
Shriek or Scream, something like that.
Yeah, but she touched him, or like it went into she went to it. She
I
opened it
thought
up.
that was in the second one.
I thought the second one was
I know it has Carnage, but Carnage
oh
I
no,
think
this was the
makes
third one.
Shriek.
The one that yeah no the one that I'm talking about is the third one. Carnage wasn't in
Okay.
it.
Yeah, because I know in the trailer, like, it just shows a symbiote horse.
Yeah, that's the third one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. That's the one that yeah, it just did well, it wasn't a symbiote horse, it was Venom turned himself into a horse.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, he did go in he used it was Venom that turned the horse into a symbiote horse, if that
Okay.
makes sense. Yeah, but see that again, that also now it was a cool scene. It was actually pretty fucking badass, but the same thing is it just goes to show that they just pick and choose whenever they want their story to line up,
Yeah.
which doesn't make sense. If you're gonna go with the story, go with that story. You know that the symbiote is takes over somebody, and it takes time to grow in you, and then most people it doesn't work. And then just because you want a big fight scene, just now all of a sudden everybody you just drink a glass of freaking symbiote. Next thing you know, not literally, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. Just like now, you drink Kool Aid, now you're the fucking Kool Aid man. You know what I mean? It just it doesn't translate very well, and it kind of disrupts the integrity of the story. Makes for a cool ass scene at the end, but it doesn't work. I mean, well, I guess it makes money though, so fuck it, right?
Um, when there one you want to talk about with like villains and their whole tropes.
Yeah, I kind of covered mine with Sinistro and the big cocksucker with the fucking
Oh,
wing hat. Um, I did that by a little bit earlier by accident. I didn't know that we weren't to that point yet, but
well, what's like another trope that you think has been like overused by either like what you've read or watched?
I mean, not necessarily do with like villains or anything, but
Like like I've seen this before, but now it's getting pretty ridiculous. Like I want something new.
I don't know. Um, the whole the hero always wins kind of annoys the piss out of me.
Well,
Cause
that actually changed because in Infinity War,
yeah, but it's
because Thanos won.
yeah, but that was one movie. You know what I'm saying? That's the one movie with all this other new shit. It just that's the one thing that annoys me though is that it's always good wins out. Like no, good doesn't always win. you know,
Yeah,
that is one thing that I wish in the newer movies they would change. That like sometimes evil does win. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's a good start with using Thanos winning or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's a good start, but at the same time, that is one thing that like, uh, and they always do that same. Oh, the good guy's getting his ass kicked. He's getting his ass kicked. He's getting his ass kicked. The next thing you know, he kicks the bad guy's ass. Like, what the fuck? Like, it should. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it should work. Don't ask me, but I do think that's just kind of like an overplayed. It's always been like that. They've always used the like, the heroes are the underdog, and then the underdog just jumps up and kicks his ass at the end. It kind of always plays out like that, and I feel like they're starting to kind of get away from that now. Um, but it still is like a heavily used um thing, and it does get on my nerves a little bit because it just gets stale.
yeah.
It's just the same story, different characters, same story, different characters all the time. You know, um, yeah, that's really all. That's really it. Is that I mean, they could do a little bit less of the whole trying to teach you a lesson bullshit too. You know, like I feel like that's what. Now I'm glad that now going back to He-Man, I am glad they're getting away from like the trying to be funny thing.
Mhm.
Like they're trying to get away from like, but they did make it more preachy. I
Yeah.
think from the trailer. Again, I haven't watched the movie. It's not. I don't even think it's out yet. Um, but it is a little bit preachy. It seems a little preachy. Just make a good movie without preaching at you or fucking trying to make like trying to I don't know. But
Well, I would say like with the whole He-Man thing, and I would say also with the Wonder Woman also was where they have the whole fish out of water type of thing. It could also be done with the Aquaman, I guess, where like a person from like another world comes to like Earth or the real world,
mm,
and they have no idea like who they are. But when they go into like when they go to their original world, they all of a sudden remember everything. I do think that I think that died down a bit though, because it's not as used like as it was. But I think it's coming back now with the new He-Man movie because I think looks like in the trailer I saw that like Like he doesn't know that he's He-Man or anything, and because he's working in like an office building, because that's what I saw in the trailer at least. And then he like talks to his friend that tells him like, "Hey, I found out I'm like in this whole other world or something like that." I don't know. I'm gonna have to watch the
Yeah, they're
trailer
sitting on
again.
the couch,
Yeah,
and he was like, "Yeah," he's like, blah blah blah. He's like, "Yeah, I don't think that's how you. I don't think you should tell people that or some shit like that." He's like, "Yeah, uh, yeah, I don't know. Of course they're gonna have like, I mean, it is kind of that overdone thing, just like uh Superman kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Come from another world. Now you're on Earth. You know, just like they did with Green Hornet, not Green Hornet, the Green Lantern. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Comes from down there to Earth. You know, the Transformers comes down there to Earth. Venom comes from there, comes to Earth. It's all these different. Um, that's why I like stuff like The Boys and stuff like X-Men and stuff because it starts here. It's not
yeah,
just somebody coming from like it shows that this shit, like power can come from Earth. It's not like everything wild and crazy has come from beyond our universe. Like our universe is as powerful as well. Which is why I like X-Men and stuff like it's a bit more grounded. It's I mean obviously they're not real, but it's more like Earth can come up with its own wild shit too,
hmm
you know. But yeah, I do agree with the whole that storyline is kind of played out. You know, we're from here now. We're on Earth. Why is there so important? Why is everybody fucking come here?
yeah,
You know, there's so many other planets and shit. Go there.
yeah. I think we about covered what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, that was a good one. It was a long one today.
Yeah, hour
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Well, an hour and 15.
Huh?
Yeah, we started at 4:30. Hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, but the timer though says we've been going on for an hour and 30.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so this makes up for last week,
Oh
which
yeah.
went on longer than episode 4, about like 20 minutes longer or 10-20 minutes longer.
Well, most of the other ones capped out at like 45 minutes. One of them was like an hour, so this is like two 45-minute sessions all in one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. So, hell yeah.
Yeah. Uh, I think I think probably next episode I want to cover more on um more about what the directors of comic books, movies, and video game movies are doing well and not doing well. And uh, I think we'll have some plenty of stuff to talk about. And
Yeah, I can talk about movies all day. When it comes to comics, I'm a little bit less informed than Beastman because Beastman's been reading comics since we were younger, and I'm just getting into it. But when it comes to movies, I've watched movies my whole life. I love movies, and so I have more I could probably say about that. So
yeah,
that'd be a
and
good conversation.
um, I think we're probably gonna talk about James Gunn more because this whole thing with James Gunn has been like a bit underwhelming. Which there are like some, I guess, like probably one good project that he's coming out with, which I don't think he's worked on. Which is the new Clayface movie, which I think looks pretty good. Um, but what he's doing with Green Lanterns and Supergirl, not really my cup of tea. And it's like there's also a new Resident Evil movie coming out. They just got their teaser trailer released. Uh, that looks nothing like Resident Evil at all. And so I think they'll come out with like a full trailer next week. So I think we're gonna talk about that more. So we will catch y'all later.